everyone, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Lauren and this is my allotment YouTube. This is episode 7 of Teabreak Tuesdays. So if you haven't already, pause this video, go and grab yourself something nice to drink and we'll have a little catch up about the allotment. So this week has definitely been a bit of a breather at the allotment. I don't feel like I'm chasing my tail, like I've got loads of jobs to catch up on and what will my neighbours think of me, you know, that hasn't been really a thought that I've had this week. So last week, Monday was a bank holiday and we'd been camping over the weekend. We came home on Monday morning. And it all happened quite quickly really. So the tent came down really quickly at camping, we packed away quickly, got home nice and easy, came straight into the house, unpacked the car, chucked a load of washing in the machine, and then sort of by midday we were done and I found myself with the rest of the day completely free, which was great. So we flew down to the allotment. Obviously we were checking at that point that the polytunnel was still in place, which thank goodness it was. That was when we then added the additional wood to the polytunnel to weigh it down. So some really heavy, I think it was timber, that we added to the frame to just make sure that that stays in place, and I feel a lot happier with it now as well. Then I nipped to the garden centre, got some plug plants, some bamboo canes, some plant feed, all of that sort of thing. Plant feed that I thought was totally organic because it sounds it, but turns out it isn't. Whatever, I'll deal with that another time. Then yeah, had lunch, headed back to the plot and just really blasted through my to-do list. I really got a lot done. And then it meant the rest of the times that I was down at the plot last week, I could just finish those jobs. So, you know, all of my beds are now planted up or they've got stuff sown in them. They're not full by any means. I could definitely make more use of the space, but I haven't got the plants to go in them this year, or at the moment. But yeah, so then it's made it really nice this week. Last night I was about to have a shower and get into my pyjamas for the evening and I thought, oh, I haven't watered the plot, but that was all that I really needed to do. I did pull a couple of weeds whilst I was there, and then I was just watering the plants. So yeah, it was definitely nice. I did a load of weeding. Some of them are already coming back, but whatever, at least I've done it once and it looked good. One of my neighbours actually, when I was down there yesterday, offered me some mint, and I did say yes to it. Although I have got mint at home, I thought, oh, I may as well have some at the plot as well, but that does mean that I need to get a pot for it to go in, because obviously mint spreads, if you don't know that, it's really quite invasive actually, so I'll need to grab a pot or something for it. I didn't have a pot big enough at the plot, but I definitely don't want that going in the ground. Apologies, I've got fluff or something on my face and I can feel it. I keep tapping my face. Yeah, so I need to get that in, and I think she said she thought one of them was lemon balm as well. So yeah, get that in a pot at some point. I need to see if I've got a pot at home actually, I might do. Other things, I had a slug fight yesterday. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, I'll tag it down below in the description. But I'd updated my stories to say that I'd had a fight with some slugs in my polytunnel. I was there watering and they were just literally climbing up my plants, like trying to eat them right in front of my face. So I was picking them off and flinging them over the fence, which I felt really cruel doing, but they were being rude in my opinion. My strawberry is almost ready to pick, my first one. I think that'll be the first thing that I harvest this year, will be my strawberry. My potatoes. Now, when I googled it, and I know you can't go by Google sort of as the absolute truth, but based on that growing length, when I googled how long do potatoes take to grow, it sort of suggested that they would be ready this week actually, I think like today, but they're definitely not because they haven't got flowers on them, and my understanding is that you need to wait for the flowers to appear on potato plants before they're ready. Yeah, so they're not quite ready yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're sort of a couple of weeks out on our harvesting this year because we've had such weird weather. My onions are looking amazing. I can't believe it. I completely forgot. So I tried seed onions a couple of times this year. I think I sowed them twice. I think I did direct into the ground and into pots, and I just had no luck with them at all. And then I found this set of set onions. Is that what they're called? Like a pack of set onions, or an onion set, whatever, in my shed that I'd completely forgotten about. And I thought, oh, they don't look great, but I'm just going to chuck them into the ground just to see what happens. I may as well try it. And yeah, they've done amazingly so far. They look really good. They're probably one of the best looking crops on my allotment at the moment. So I'm really glad about that. They're just your normal sort of white or yellow, whichever you call it, onions. And yeah, I think they've all sprouted, they've all turned into plants, and they're all growing, which is great. And it was definitely unexpected, so I'm definitely glad I tried it. And it just goes to show, if you find something in the shed, even if you don't think it'll work, it's better than throwing it out. Just give it a try. Then I've got my broccoli plants that I bought from the garden centre. My slight concern with them is that they are in full sun all day, and I know broccoli plants and your brassicas, I think, don't tend to like full sun, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. I can get some netted, well, they are netted off actually, but I can get some sort of shading netting to go over the top, just to give them a bit of shade when we're in sort of full summer. That's no problem. My garlic is looking okay. I think I'll have about 5 or 6 bulbs of garlic by the time we're done, but considering that was the first thing I ever planted, I think on my plot, maybe bar the rhubarb, I'm happy with that too. I mean, I've got garlic. How amazing is that? And I think it might have even been garlic literally from a bulb that I bought from like Tesco or something like that. I'm pretty certain that's what I ended up doing with my garlic this year. So that's great. Free garlic as well. I've learnt from it. Definitely to plant in rows so that you don't accidentally weed your garlic out, that sort of thing. But I'd definitely do that again next year. My rhubarb isn't looking great, but I split it. It was a really old crown that I'd been growing in the garden since we had this house, so quite a few years now. It was literally the size of the pot that it was in. It was ginormous. So I split it this year, put 3 lots into the ground, and then just chucked 2 back in the pot and thought, oh, they don't look like they've got any new shoots on them, but if they grow, they grow. And actually the ones in the pot have ended up doing better, so whatever. But I don't think I'm going to pick it this year. I think I'm going to try and be patient and leave it this year, because I split it quite hard and it's definitely not as big as what it usually sort of grows through, like the thickness of the stems or anything like that. So I'm going to treat it like a baby. I'm going to leave it this year, and then hopefully it'll be back next year. And I might even try force one of them next year. Not all of them. Give it a break, seeing as I split it this year. But yeah, one of them I might try and force next year, because that's always fun, having early rhubarb. Then what else have I got? I've got a little salad bed. I've not had much success with my salad this year, and when I was just growing in the garden, I actually used to grow in my wheelbarrow. I drilled some holes in the bottom of my wheelbarrow and just had it as a salad bed, basically. So I used to grow rhubarb, radish and beetroot, and spring onions and kale and all of that sort of thing in my wheelbarrow. And it always did really well, actually. But this year I've planted into a raised bed, and I've not got an awful lot of success. I don't know if I'm just being impatient, because the lettuce, I did only sow that about a week ago. And I know that I'm probably late for like your full head of lettuce, but even if I can just get some baby leaves of spinach and things like that, that's fine. It's just something, isn't it? And then what else have I got? This fluff on my face is really irritating me. Then last week I sowed all of my carrots. So I think I did Autumn King and things like that, some rainbow carrots, parsnips, my squash, pumpkin. I did Big Mac's pumpkin, and I would love to have a huge pumpkin, but we'll see. I did some runner beans, some more peas. I actually did some more radish in that long bed, this is, and some beetroot. I think that was about it. I did what is the name of it? Is it like Chioggia or something like that? The beetroot with the circles inside, so it's like a beetroot colour circle and then a white circle and so on, into the middle of the beetroot. But yeah, we'll just see if those things grow, see how we get on. In the polytunnel, I've got my tomatoes, which are looking okay. I think they're a bit unhappy about going into the polytunnel at first, but I've given them a feed, I've given them plenty of water, and they seem to have perked up. So fingers crossed we get some tomatoes. I've got a flower already, so hopefully that starts picking up. I planted a lovely melon that I bought from the garden centre into my polytunnel, and that got absolutely munched by slugs. So if I nip back to the garden centre and they've got some left, I might buy another one and maybe even hang it in my polytunnel just to try and keep the slugs away, but we'll see. My pepper plants, as I said earlier, they are definitely being attacked by the slugs, but I've got a few smaller pepper plants, so hopefully the slugs will just stick to those and leave the big ones alone. Not really sure what to do to keep the slugs off of those. It's quite difficult, because obviously they're not netted or anything, but I don't know, I'll come up with something. I'd quite like to get hold of a farmer locally and get hold of some sheep wool, because apparently the slugs don't like that, so I might put a call out today amongst my friends and people on Facebook, see if I can get hold of some. And then my cucumber, I bought that from the garden centre as well, and that in my pepper plants actually, something that I learned was that the leaves went black on them, but they weren't like black and crispy, so they weren't like that they were dying from lack of water. But actually I've had a little Google, and apparently they just can have a bit of a sulk if it gets a bit hot quite quickly, which might have been what's happened by me putting them into the polytunnel, and then we've had this gorgeous weather. So yeah, they're just having a bit of a tantrum about it being too hot too quickly, but apparently when the new leaves grow through, they'll be fine. So fingers crossed they're all good. And then yeah, my cucumber plants, so I pinched off all of the baby cucumbers that were growing on it. It hurt my soul, but Charles Dowden said to do it, and apparently if you do that, then it encourages the plant to grow bigger, because it's literally a couple of inches high at the minute, or a few inches high. But you want to wait till, I think it's their sort of knee height, and then you're good to let the cucumbers sort of grow on there. But before that, you'll get naff cucumbers, because the plant isn't big enough to grow anything substantial, and the plant won't grow any bigger, so you're best to just take them off. But yeah, so that's it really. This week I've been through a whole sort of mind tour of everything that's in the plot. I'm definitely happy. When I first got the plot, obviously apart from it being completely overgrown, when we then levelled it out and got back to sort of the base, I did think, oh, this isn't very big, but I know I can interplant. Oh, I planted some sweet corn as well. I know I can interplant, I know, I can make use of my space, but it's still not that much space. But actually, with the amount of stuff that I've got in the ground and the amount of space that I've still got, yeah, I mean, we could be self-sufficient off that plot. It is actually huge. So I'm not too worried about that now. I've still got space for another couple of beds that I haven't even put in yet, that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm really, really happy. I mean, I don't think I'm going to win any awards for my allotment at this point, don't get me wrong, but I am genuinely really, really happy with it. I took on the plot in September, sort of waist high and above weeds. I couldn't even step into some of the plot because it was just that thick with like thistles and weeds and horrible, horrible plants. Yeah, so I'm surprised I've got anything in the ground for this growing season, let alone the amount that I have done. This week my plan will definitely be to get my shed sorted. This is a long tea break Tuesday for me. But if you haven't seen, I have another YouTube channel and Instagram called It's Me Lauren. Again, I'll tag that down in the description below. It's completely different. It's all about sewing and crafts and things that I make. But I made a harvest apron this week, which I posted onto that YouTube, because obviously I sewed it. But that will fall in line with me redoing my shed this week. So I'm going to completely sort the shed out. The weather is set to be okay up until the end of this week, and then we're going to get some rain. So I would like to have my shed sorted so if I am down at the plot and it does start raining, I've got somewhere to hide in. And also it'd just be nice to have the shed done now and have it look pretty and organised. That's about it really. But yeah, it obviously hasn't been my priority yet, but it's lovely to now be in the position that is now a priority for me, is to get my shed pretty. So yeah, so do join me for that. That video will come on Friday. But yeah, other than that, I hope you've had a lovely week. If you did like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you as always, and I hope you have a lovely week and happy growing. Bye bye.